Hello and welcome back to another episode of Slice and Dice Ecom, where we're joined by me again, Josh, the founder of ClickSlice, and
Julia with an I, operations director.
yeah, in a very nice fancy dress.
Thank you. It's new and it's so summer
I
vibes.
mean, you're kind of putting me to shame in my outfit, but hey,
You, yeah, we're matching, I think.
a little
Not
bit.
sure.
I think you get the limelight in this one, but it's very very hot today in London. It's like 32
Yeah.
degrees. So yeah, cool. So in this episode, what we wanted to do is discuss blog content. We get so many
Yeah.
questions from clients, especially now ChatGPT is like just killing it in terms of content generation. Like,
Yeah.
what is the value of blog posts? Like, do I need to do blog posts to my ecom brand in 2024? Like, what is the point of this?
Definitely, yeah. I think one of the biggest, not questions, statements from clients is, oh, I know the blogs are only for SEO. So yeah, just upload it there. But it's not. In fact, it's a big misconception because blogs can attract users to your website, can build trustworthiness, they can be cross sell opportunities. And especially, you just mentioned AI. So users are now being hit with a lot of blogs that are just regurgitating the same things all over
Yeah, for
again.
sure.
So if you do it the right way, they're actually going to stick there and come back for more. And it also helps, let's say someone's looking for how to do something. One of your blogs could actually help and make it clear for themselves that they can't do that thing, but you can, and you can resolve that issue. So that's it right there. Cross sell opportunity. Also, you have the opportunity to catch users in different types at different stages in the sales funnel. So blogs are massive and are super important, and they're not there just for SEO. But yeah, they are also super important in terms of SEO because they build that relevancy, and that's something Google is always looking for when determining if you should be ranking high for your keywords or not.
Yeah, I think that's so great. Like, you explained it so well, and I think top of the funnel content, which is what blog posts are, right? Informational in intent, the guides. People just think like, yeah, it's not going to make me money, so I'm not going to look into that. But like, good example, I bought a darts board recently for my sports bar at the back of the house, and it's like, there's so many darts boards out there. Like, I had no idea. And so like,
Yeah.
when I was researching for like best dart boards, I saw like literally 60 different variants. I didn't know which one was best, what color. Some were easy, some had like little frame around it, so if you missed a dart, it picks it up. And next thing I know, I was googling which dartboard is
Yeah.
best for amateurs or beginners, and I was
Yeah.
reading an article, and I actually ended up buying the darts board for the article I actually read on the same website because I had an e-commerce store selling the darts board. So again, like, if they didn't have that blog post, I wouldn't even found the website and I wouldn't even made a sell. So again, don't overlook informational content
Yeah.
because if you, like you said, if you leverage it, you can actually get a lot of organic sales from that for sure.
Yeah, and that's also, you just said you were comparing it. So that's one type of blog article. But there's also, as I said, how to's, reviews.
Yeah.
Reviews also work really well. So we have one of our clients, they sell metal gold detectors, and they've asked previous clients to share stories and reviews. And we've created a blog post around those reviews and those stories, and that actually generated a sale. So super important. Blogs are there not only for SEO purposes, but to build that trust with users. And we've also seen, even if you get a lot of informational traffic, that's a great opportunity for us to filter that traffic to your category pages.
Yeah, no, I think that's such a good point. I haven't seen anyone speak about that, to be honest with you, especially a lot of our competitors, to say the least. But essentially, like when we have content coming through, like in terms of reviews, for that example of the metal detector, to give you guys a bit more background on that as well. So our client sells metal detectors, as you said, long range metal detectors, metal finders, and when a customer bought one of their products, they actually found, I don't know what it was, some very valuable piece of metal in their garden. They were like really excited. They sent it to the client saying, wow, your
Yeah.
metal detector found me this. This is so awesome. Like, that is so unique and you can't get that content anywhere else. So to get it directly from one of your customers is so important in terms of marketing. You can leverage that in blogs to scream and shout about that. And what better way to build trust with someone than saying, you want to buy this product? Well, guess what? Sammy bought the product 2 weeks ago, used it, and found this amazing thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying it. Here's what he said. Here's a video. Here's a review. Here's the thing. Like, it's so trustworthy. And I think in the digital era we're in now, where brands are trying to kind of separate themselves from the competition, you need to be going above and beyond with your content. And what better place to do that than by leveraging blog posts?
Yeah, it builds excitement, and you can also identify with the brand, and you can see clearly see they're real, they're more inclined to discuss with customers, so they care about their customers. And as a client myself, I appreciate that. So I like brands that nurture their customers. So it's super important.
Cool. So we covered the main parts of why blogs are important, right? Conversions, but let's look at blogs from an SEO standpoint, right? Because I think this is the part most brands don't understand. Like, why have you made a blog post on how to make a metal detector when I sell metal detectors? Like, isn't that going to push my users away? So can you explain how blogs actually support the overall SEO campaign?
Yeah, so that's mainly why we've made those blogs, the one you just talked about. It's for SEO and for Google to see that you are an expert and you are relevant. So let's take the metal detectors industry. The more blogs you have on it, the more you can show to Google that you know your product, you're an expert, you're relevant, and you're on top of your competitors as well. I'm 100% sure that if you search for one of your keywords, the top five ranking websites have a lot of content, and they definitely have types of blogs that might not make sense for you, but they are still searches that users search for. Someone might be interested. How are they made? So you need to cover that topic to show Google that you're relevant. If you don't know how to make metal detectors, but you sell them, then you're not that relevant. So that's why.
100%. And I think sometimes we struggle with this to explain this to clients because it does get a bit technical. And
It is, yeah.
the technical term in the SEO world, which we try to avoid saying, is topical relevancy. And essentially, you need to cover every piece of content in your entire topic for Google to understand you're actually about that topic that you sell products about. Like, for example, metal detectors, right? So sometimes it may not always make sense, but I always try to tell clients, don't worry too much about this one component, because this one component is going to help your collection page rank higher, and that's what's going to make the organic revenue. So,
and also, it's not like, so users won't necessarily go to your blog page and browse through all of them and see that blog and be like, oh my God, what is this? The users that are going to end up on that blog are mainly the ones that have searched for how do you make one? So
course.
you're answering their query. So it's not a bad thing at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think the other part to highlight as well is if someone is looking for what type of metal detector is best for a beginner, right? So someone who's trying to enter the market. If you don't have a piece of blog content or any type of content covering or answering that question, guess what? You're opening up the door to your competitors to come through, create content, and then steal that user. And once they've visited their website, they can retarget them with ads. They can use pixel tracking through Facebook. Like, you've just lost potentially a customer. So instead of seeing it as like, why am I doing blogs in 2024? Isn't blogs dead? Isn't AI killing everything? No. Look at it as like, no, you want to dominate your niche and take spots away from your competitors so they come to you first and not those guys.
Yeah, and users are also, in this day and age of AI and everything, they actually want to do the research. They want to feel like they made the decision. 100%. So having those blogs to support their journey is very important.
Cool. So there's lots of different types of blogs you could publish, right? You touched on product reviews, comparisons, how-to guides. If you're an ecom brand, what do you think is the most effective type of blog content you should focus on?
There's not one. It should be a mix of all of them. So some of them, as you said, are the ones that need to support SEO. So if it's a weird question, it's still something that users search for. So you need to cover that. How-tos are really good. Comparisons, again, as I've said, they offer cross-sell up. They are an opportunity for cross-sell. So it's a mix of all. It's not just one specifically.
Okay, so omnipresent.
Approach.
Like, that's our favorite word, omni. That's all we pretty much say, right?
Yeah, everywhere.
But it's because, you have to do that. It's quite interesting because back in the day when you did any form of marketing, even SEO, a good example, right? If you wanted to rank number one, you just have like links and some content. And to be fair, it's pretty much still the same thing in 2024, but there's lots of other things you need to consider as well. So again, even if you're doing SEO, that's great, but you shouldn't just be doing SEO. So we are an SEO agency. We get literally 95% of our leads organically, but we don't just do SEO. We also have Google Ads generating leads. We have paid social generating leads. We have partnerships, and we are omnipresent, aggressive, I guess, whatever you want to call it. And it's the same thing applies to any part of your marketing, whether it's marketing channels or also blog types as well. So another question I get asked quite a lot on discovery calls is, okay, I understand you need to publish blog content and I get it helps SEO, but like, isn't it just wasted traffic? Like, how can I nurture all of that traffic to increase the sales for my Shopify store?
No, it's not. As I was just pointing out earlier, you can have cross-sell opportunities with blogs. And the way you do that is, depending on the blog type and what you're writing, you can organically add in call to actions, definitely images. What we've seen with a lot of our clients is that most of them don't even have images, but the ones that do, the images are unclickable. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Even for one of our clients, we've added a related product carousels. I think it was mid-blog, and we were talking about the best shirts for summer. And that's when we integrated the product carousel, where you can see multiple options and it fits right into the context. It's natural, it's not forced, and it's there at a click of a button, and you can filter that traffic to your category page. And that's how you do it. It's just making sure that your CTAs look well. So I think we were discussing in another podcast how we've seen clients adding CTAs the same color as other colors on their website, so it doesn't stand out.
Yeah.
It's making sure those CTA buttons stand out. So if your website is, I don't know, green, just make it red or orange so it stands out.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I think one thing too many brands are very guilty of doing is they'll have a blog post on maybe like, what is the best foldable electric bike? And they'll just like have the foldable number 1, foldable number 2, and then at the bottom will be like, buy helmets. And it's like
Yeah.
the person doesn't even have a bike, like let alone a helmet. So like your CTAs need to be tailored to the content that actually you have on your website as well. So yeah, really good point. And you can also take a omni-channel approach to this as well. So even though you're getting traffic to your blog post, which is informational in intent, you can actually retarget all those users who land in your blog post with paid ads and then show them targeted ads to help get them more towards the bottom of the purchase funnel as well. So it's not just, this is a blog for SEO. This is literally a blog you can use to increase your topical relevance and increase your rankings of your collection pages and make more organic revenue. It's also a blog you can use to push people through the purchase funnel. It's also a blog you can use to build more trust.
Yeah,
like these blogs
that's a really good point.
these blogs are so powerful. And I think too many brands don't look at things holistically and they just say, hey, I don't want a blog. If I'm gonna get a blog, I'll get ChatGPT to write up in 10 minutes. Like you're completely missing the mark here.
Yeah, you are. So that's the ChatGPT part is one of the biggest mistakes, I think.
So we understand that blog content is important for brands and they need it, right? So what would you say is the most common mistakes you see brands making when actually publishing blogs on the e-commerce stores?
Well, I would say even with the rise of AI now, it's focusing on quantity over quality. So instead of trying to publish 30 AI written blogs in a month, it's better if you can write 5 good ones, as those, if they're written really well, as I was touching on earlier, they can generate trustworthiness and users will come back to your website to read more. Maybe they're in that stage where they want to learn more about your product. So one of your blogs really resonated with them. So they're going to come back for more. And eventually we can try and filter that traffic and that user to a category page. So definitely, I would advise focus on quality rather than quantity. And that's a general life advice.
For sure.
And also, I think, failing to optimize for keywords. You don't just write... It's okay to write blogs just for users, but it would be good if you can mix and integrate keywords in there as well. That's also helping your SEO strategy and also making sure that you satisfy users and that you respond to their queries.
Yeah, I think having that balance is so crucial, right? Like we get a lot of brands say to us, yeah, we want to publish a blog content on this and this and that. And it's like all these really good ideas they come up with, but they're never optimized. So like no one actually finds them organically, which is great if you can send it to your email list, right? But like you want to be thinking again, omnipresent, omni-channel, right? Like you want to get traffic by all means possible, and organic, it's just free. So like, why would you not optimize it? So I think starting with keywords and questions is a really good strategy for sure.
Yeah, and also I don't want to repeat myself, but CTAs, CTAs.
Yeah, call to actions. Like we should say that every day on Slack, right? CTA this, CTA that, CTA that, and it sounds so obvious to us, but like it's crazy how many brands just have blogs with no CTAs, and it's like, how can I improve my blog? It's like, I mean, this blog's ranking number 1 for a really big keyword, and there's no way for the user to navigate from this blog to your collection page or your product pages. Like that is so bizarre.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's huge.
It's crazy, right? It's almost like trying to go into a dealership to buy a car, but you can't find the front door. Like, how do you get in and buy that car? Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and okay, so I know I talked a lot in this podcast, so maybe some of our listeners would like to know, what advice would you give to an e-commerce brand when it comes to their blogging strategy?
I think the best type of content you should create as an ecom brand in terms of blog and informational is questions your users are searching for.
Yeah.
Again, we spoke about this earlier already, but like if you're just creating content on what you think is good, or like, I think that could do well, I think that may resonate, like don't think. Like, you have access to so many tools out there that will give you this data, like Google Keyword Planner, Ahrefs, SEMrush. All these tools will give you this data, not for free, unfortunately, but the data is only literally a hand reach away. So again, using an example of, let's go for maybe men's razor blades, right? I think we used that in a previous podcast as well.
Yeah.
If you sell razor blades, what questions are your customers searching for every month related to razor blades? Like, how much do razor blades cost? The pros and cons of razor blades, maybe the evolution of razor blades, which razor blade is best for beginners, right? Like the different types of razor blades, like all this type of questions is what your customers are searching for. That is literally content you should be creating content about, right?
Yeah.
So if you just take more of an approach where it's like, let's completely ignore all of the data and let's just make a blog post on like why this razor blade is the best and why you should buy it, like, because you think that's great. Like, no one's going to find that. You have to rely on paid ads to generate traffic. And again, it's not setting yourself up to generate organic revenue.
Yeah, those are really good points. And it's just trying to educate more on this topic, I think.
I think another thing brands should be doing is creating a content schedule as well. So too many brands are guilty of saying, I need to publish blog content. Let me quickly, set aside time on Friday. I won't watch EastEnders. I'll go and write 20 blogs. So like, great, cool. They publish 20 in one go. And then nothing happens for the next 9 months. It's like, you're better off creating a content schedule and like dripping your content out. So your users who are on your website have always seen fresh content being published. And there's actually a part of the Google algorithm called the fresh content segment, which essentially doesn't apply to every industry, especially evergreen industries. But if Google can see you are constantly publishing content, it's going to reward you with higher rankings, more organic traffic, and ultimately more organic sales. So creating a content schedule and most importantly, sticking to it is the most important part.
You know that.
Yeah, we're all guilty of saying, tomorrow I'm going to do this. And then when tomorrow comes, did I say tomorrow? I meant tomorrow. And then you push it back a day and it just goes in an endless cycle, right?
Consistency. You need consistency.
Be consistently consistent.
Yeah.
That's my motto that I pretty much live by, other than when I got something I don't want to do. There's actually a hack people say, like, when you have something on your to-do list that you don't want to do, it's normally a really boring task. The best thing to do is add another task on your to-do list, which is worse than the one that you're avoiding. Because then automatically the one you had there is like, I want to do this one. And then you just keep adding stuff that's worse. And then all your stuff gets done.
Yeah, nice advice. I didn't think of that before.
I've been doing that for the last 7 years.
Josh Guru 2024 task planner.
Yeah, I know it's supposed to be a podcast on like slice and dice ecom, but yeah, we're talking about my life hacks essentially. But yeah, all good.
Okay, that was it for this one. Thanks guys for tuning in. And again, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments and we'll make sure to answer in another podcast.
Yeah, like and subscribe. See you in the next one.
Thank you.